And now, you know, in my opinion, that North Shuswap area, it's full of fir, over-mature, lots of over-mature fir. It's beautiful. Mark my words on that, the next 3 to 5 years. There'll be another big fire up the North Shuswap there and wipe out a bunch more houses and people's livelihoods. People can say what they want about these fires, but you tell me why lightning strikes twice in the same spot. Or, I mean, Kelowna is a perfect example. Why has there been fires down there the last 10 years, like steady? Just when you think, okay, there'll never be a fire in Kelowna in our lifetime again because it's all burnt, boom, another 200 or whatever hectares or 20,000 hectares burns up and burns down another 100 homes. Mother Nature's got a plan there, and you're not stopping her. I mean, we could slow her down and kind of direct her a little bit if you have proper management, which we don't in BC Wildfire at all.
When this fire became out of control because of the government's backburn, they wanted to evacuate everybody, but a lot of these locals stayed behind, and that's when the Ministry of Forests pulled right out and basically said that because of the locals staying behind, they were creating a problem to fight the fire. And what the locals did, they were solving the problem that Fire Center created for them. They went to the extreme where they tried to keep them at their own property. They had cops patrolling. They had people out on the water, like cops on the water, because they were bringing supplies over by boat and they were turning people back by boat. They had roadblocks. You couldn't get in or out of here. But I mean, the locals, they know the area, they know the back roads, so on and so forth. But they tried to make it impossible for these locals to be here, but the government got their ass handed to them because these locals, nobody knows the land, the lay of the land better than they do, and they proved them wrong. But to the day, anybody at Fire Center will still say that the locals were the problem, which is just absolute bullshit. I got no use for those fuckheads at Fire Center.
The fires haven't changed. The way we manage the fires has changed. And getting into that conversation, they need to change that back and let industry deal with these fires. Instead, you get a bunch of kids from town that come out here. Some of them aren't even from our country, and they come out here. And I've got no business coming out here. This isn't my backyard. And telling anybody how to fight a fire in Alberta. I don't. But I'll sure as hell listen to the 80-year-old farmer that's born and raised on this piece of ground. That guy knows exactly when the wind's going to change, where it's going to change, what type of wood, where the water is, where the fences are, where the roads are. He'll tell you everything you need to know to stay safe and be successful putting out a fire. You get some of these kids from not even in this country come out here and they tell us how to fight a fire. No, you're not putting it out that way. Like, just turn it back to the individuals in the areas. We need fire wardens again, is what we do. Every 5 kilometers or whatever, have a fire warden. It's, you know, a local 50-year-old plus man or woman that's born and raised, that knows and is watching and gives a shit about their own backyard. These guys that are coming from out of country and whatnot, do you think they're here to put a fire out? Not a fucking chance. They're here for a paycheck.
We were over on the other side of the lake still logging while this was taking place over here, and I was listening to the local radio station, and it was a Salmon Arm radio station, and I give that radio announcer a lot of credit. And there's not many guys that will stand up for people on a public radio channel such as that Patrick Riley did on that Salmon Arm radio station. And he had people interviewing people from provincial emergency response that were doing the same thing. They were just belittling these locals. And Patrick stood up and said, so you're telling me that a 19-year-old kid, basically fresh out of school, has more experience than the local rancher, the local logger, so on and so forth? Like, he really called this lady from government or ministry out, which was good. It was good to see.
Last year on that North Shuswap fire, you look at the lineup of men, real men, that took charge of that. They got trouble for it, but they took charge of their own backyards and they put the fire out. Those were men. And some of those men were in their 70s. but they knew what it took to make things happen. Yeah, that's a real man, those boys.
The locals saved everything out here. There would have been twice as many homes lost if these locals hadn't have stayed behind. Absolutely. They're the real heroes out here, the locals. You know why the guys at Fire Center don't have children, eh? Because every time things get hot, they pull out. That word is used so common on a fire. Pull out, pull out, pull out. Here's the next problem. 2017, Craig and I had all of our equipment on the Elephant Hill fire. We had our own RPF, who has more experience fighting fires than 3/4 of the guys in at Fire Center. Had our own RPF running line. I had my own safety guy, had my own safety manuals made. We were one of the most safest, efficient crews out there. Our RPF had us starting in the bush at 5 a.m. in the morning and fighting fire. That's when you're supposed to fight it. In the morning or at night. What happens in the morning and at night? Things calm down. You can get a handle on it. You can feel right now, we're pushing on 9 o'clock. What do you feel in the air? Wind. So anyways, we did this for roughly 3 weeks on that fire, and we put a lot of guard in. We were quite successful doing it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good people out there that fight the fires. But anyways, by about week 3, we were deemed unsafe. Unsafe. So from that point, we were told to be at the marshalling area at 6 a.m. in the morning. My time clock for my equipment started at 6 a.m. Started. Full hourly rate on all my equipment. I wasn't doing anything. I was sitting at the marshalling area in a meeting, loading up on free breakfast and free lunch and whatever other supplies we needed. So we'd piss around there till about 7:30, follow their crew out. Hour and a half later, we're in the bush. So now it's 9 o'clock. Now they get their shit together by about 10. The wind is starting to pick out. We go out on the front line. We get maybe 2 to 4 hours in. Pull out. There's your day. And you wonder why this takes place. Fight the fire at night with experienced operators. The people that they put on these fires, they're there for one reason. They're there for a paycheck, easy money. You get paid full hourly rate to sit in a marshalling area. And we're talking, a D7 or a D8, we're talking $250 to $350 an hour for a 12-hour day to sit. So you wonder why these people that have no business actually being on a fire say the right things, kiss ass. It's so fucking political out there, it would make you sick. But heaven forbid if Craig and I say, listen, you're fucking doing it wrong. And maybe those are the words we're using that we shouldn't use. Devastating, isn't it? You look at that whole mountain just gone. And it was all avoidable, 100%.